Hi comic book fans, and today I'm just going to do a short series of videos because one of my mates in the comic community, Wayne, was asking me about pressing comics and cleaning comics. So I thought I would do a really basic introduction to pressing and cleaning comics. Now firstly, I tend to clean comics using a wet cleaning technique, using a special solution I've got from the States. It's called ImmacuClean, and it's developed by a university professor who is interested in comics. I think he tried a whole range of different formulations of surfactants to come up with one that was effective at removing dirt from the cover of a comic without pulling off the colour or damaging the comic. Now this isn't for everybody. Most people will dry clean comics using an eraser and so on, but here I have my ImmacuClean, and I have just put some onto a cosmetic pad. Okay, I'm going to rub this very gently across the surface of this comic. Like so, just very gently moving from one side to the other, like that, so that the whole surface gets a nice coating of the ImmacuClean. Right, we then literally leave it for just, you can already see some of the dirt that's coming off there. This comic I think is from 1965. Why have I chosen this? Well, it has got a spine roll to it. It is not sitting flat on the surface. It's got a spine roll. Spine roll occurs when comics have been stored stacked on top of each other, and they will develop what's called a spine roll. Pressing is a really good method. It's one of the things that pressing can get rid of. Okay, the other thing I tend to do when I'm sort of cleaning a comic, especially if I'm going to be putting some pressure on it, is I tend to put a backing board. This is a magazine size backing board behind the front page. It just gives it a bit of extra strength, I find. And now we're going to rub this again with a bit of ImmacuClean, and you can see we've got some dirt coming off this comic. Not too dirty actually. One of the other things you will notice on this comic is that we've got a what I could call a sun line. So when comics get exposed to the sun, they will fade. What we can see here is, I think this little top corner here has been exposed to more sunlight than the main part of the comic, and therefore we have got and so this now is a dry pad, and I'm just sort of drying it very gently, running that across there, careful not to crease the cover. And again, you can see some dirt coming off on that. There we go, that's looking nice and clean. This is a great looking cover. I presume this was I think this was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Mr. and Mrs. J Evil Scientist. They're very like the Munsters and the Addams Family. So I think this is a Munsters and Addams Family rip-off. Let's just do the same thing on the back. A bit of ImmacuClean onto my cotton pad. Just going to rub that across there. See, we've got a crease on this corner. Can't do anything about that. It's a colour breaking crease. Can't do anything. Pressing is not going to get rid of that. The main thing that pressing will do is get rid of the spine roll on this. That's why I've selected it. Plus it does look really nice. It is cleaning up. I can actually see this is looking cleaner and brighter. get some of that brightness back. Just leave that a couple of seconds, and then we will give it a drying. Actually, you're best running actually from the spine out like that. You're less likely to cause a creasing if you run it this way. I mean, this actually isn't too bad. This was in a bag and board, but if you find some, well, we've got a bit off there, quite a bit of dirt coming off there. There we go. Right, so having cleaned that up a bit, what I am now going to do is I'm going to take this to my steamer, and I am going to steam this comic. Now what that does is it adds moisture into the fibres of the cover area and makes them more pliable, so they're more easily pressed and pushed back into their original shape, especially down this spine across here. Okay, and then I'll come back and I will show you my press and how I would press this. What I would say is, if you are thinking about getting into pressing, there is an absolute must you must do. You must get this book. This is the book about cleaning, pressing, renewing comic books. It's called Comic Book CPR by Michael Frederick Sorensen. And it gives into a lot of detail about what type of faults pressing can fix, and how to press different types of comics depending upon their age. There's a section on dry cleaning which I haven't covered off here. The guy who's responsible for this is called Captain Mike, and I think he has a website, captainmike.com. So that's worth looking up, and this really is a tremendous book. It does cover loads of subjects about pressing and cleaning comics, and if you follow the instructions in here, you will not go far wrong. Okay, I am going to move myself now to my steamer, and I will show you my steamer and the steaming process, then we'll come back and press. Okay guys, here is my steamer. It's a Tefal. I think it cost me about 30 quid. Generally they're sold to sort of put on curtains and get creases out of curtains, or get creases out of shirts and things. But I use mine for steaming comics. There's plenty of these on the market. You should be able to pick up a decent one on Amazon for about 20 to 30 quid. Right, this one's got a button on it. When it's ready, it shows blue. I've got it in turbo mode, okay? So I'm going to point this at my comic, and hopefully it behaves itself. It's making funny noises. There we go. You can see steam coming out of it. You can see the steam is having an effect on the comic already. The fibres are relaxing back. That page is going flat. Now we want most of the steam here on the spine area to help get rid of this so there we go, we've given that a good steam on the front. I'm going to turn this over now. Hang on. Filming while steaming. Here we go again. Some people put their comics in a water, in a sort of water container, not in the water, but they let the moisture get into it, but it takes ages. This is a much faster method of getting the water vapour into the comic. So there we go, I have steamed this comic. I'm now going to take it back to my press. Hi comic book fans, here we are back with my press. So this press has got a heated upper plate. So that's where the heat's coming from. The bottom plate is not heated. I've got this rubber mat on the base of the press, which is what it came with. I then put on, and you can purchase these online, stainless steel plate. Now that means, for me, what happens with this is you get much more even pressure and even distribution of the temperature. Okay, I then put on there a Teflon sheet. Again, this actually came with my press, and then I put a magazine-sized backing board. Right, I then put a sheet of ordinary photocopier paper on the base. Why am I using photocopier paper? Well, because it is very non-sticky. It is full of filler. It's full of chalk, which means that things are not going to stick to your comic. Okay, what you don't want is anything sticking to the cover or pulling print off the cover. Okay, so I put a sheet of photocopier paper behind the back cover. Also, I put a sheet behind the back cover, so both sides of the back cover. There's the sheet there, and I've also put another sheet behind the cover there, and then on the front side I've done the same thing. I've got a sheet of A4 there, and that is going in the press like that, and you're creating a sort of sandwich with the comic in the middle. Okay, then we put another sheet of A4 on top like that, so all the bits of all the cover is next to the A4 sheets. I will then finish that off with another magazine-sized backing board, and then finally I have got another steel plate, polished steel plate, that's going to go on the top like this. Now these plates mean that because in this heated bit there's a sort of pattern here of heat. By using the plates, you get much more even pressure distribution, and you get much more even temperature distribution. Okay, right, next I am going to close my press like so. You can increase or decrease the pressure using this knob. I'm decreasing it slightly because my metal plates are quite thick. I am then going to switch it on, he says. Why is that not switching on? No, it's switched on there, yep. So there we go, that is now switched on. That will now begin to heat up. So I'm going to let it get to my target temperature of 70 degrees. When it hits that, I'm then going to run the timer for 10 minutes and press it for 10 minutes at 70 degrees centigrade. Okay. So this will beep when it's ready. What I will then do, I'll leave it for 10 minutes. I will then switch the press off. Okay, I will then leave it under the press overnight. So it's about 1:30 in the afternoon now. I'll do 10 minutes at 70 degrees, and then literally I'm going to leave it to sit for over 12 hours. You don't need to leave it 12 hours. Probably 8 hours is enough, but the longer you leave it, the more permanent the effect of the pressing will be. So 8 to 12 hours, this is going to be a bit longer, and I will show you the finished result tomorrow. That's your lot. See you again soon. Hi comic book fans. Right, so my comic has been pressing for quite a long time actually. Put it in at 1:30 yesterday and it's now 11 AM the following day. So it's had quite a long time in the press. So let's open this up and see how we've got on. There we go. So gradually remove the layers. So that's the top metal plate. To one side. We've then got the magazine size backing board. We've then got our nice, we can see this has gone nice and flat. This is the effect of pressing. Look at this cover. Let's remove the A4 paper that's behind. You'll notice that there's no sticking there. Nothing is stuck. There's no nasty stickingness. This is pressed quite nicely. Let's just lift this off here. Sorry, I'm just going to remove the other pieces of paper. That's the backing board. And that's the one behind the back cover. There we go. So that looks really good. The spine roll has gone. This is now flat. Cover's looking nice and clean and flat. No intention of selling this. This is just for my PC. We're going to put it in a nice golden age bag and board just to protect it. Go in. There we go. Beautiful. So there we go. A really nice little pressing there. Quite satisfying when you take a comic like that, give it a clean up, give it a press. This is now looking really really good, flat. Spine roll has gone. We've still got the crease in this corner, but that was never going to go away with the press. Really quite a good looking spine on this for a comic from 1965. So there you go. That's how I do a press on a silver bronze age comic. It is a bit different if you're doing modern comics. The paper behaves differently. I would never use a steam spray on a modern comic. It's crinkly enough as it is. It doesn't necessarily lie flat in the first place. So modern comics are different. They are less robust than bronze and silver age ones. So I do most of my pressing on bronze and silver age. Okay, I hope that video has been useful to those of you who are new to the world of pressing. So that's your lot. See you again soon.